The story begins in 1348, a time when England was a medieval society largely composed of peasants working the land under the feudal system. The economy depended on agriculture, and most people lived in small villages. London, the capital, was a bustling hub of trade but also overcrowded and unsanitary. Disease was not uncommon, but nothing could prepare the country for what was about to come. The Black Death, a deadly plague, had already devastated much of Europe before it reached England. It originated in Asia and was carried to Europe by merchant ships, where fleas on rats transmitted the bacterium Yersinia pestis to humans. As the ships docked in southern England, they brought more than just goods. Unwittingly, they carried the seeds of destruction. The first signs of the plague in England were reported in the port town of Melcombe Regis in Dorset in the summer of 1348. Within weeks, the sickness spread quickly to other towns and villages. Symptoms were terrifying. Painful swellings known as buboes appeared in the groin or armpits, followed by fever, vomiting, and dark blotches on the skin, hence the name Black Death. Those infected typically died within days. Panic set in as people realized the extent of the contagion. Priests, doctors, and healers could offer no remedy. Many believed the plague was a punishment from God, while others blamed foul air or alignment of the planets. The wealthy tried to flee to the countryside, but no place was safe, and soon the plague swept across the land, sparing no one, rich or poor. As the plague peaked in 1349, entire communities were wiped out. Mass graves had to be dug to accommodate the bodies, as the death toll overwhelmed local cemeteries. It is estimated that up to half of England's population perished during this period, amounting to nearly 2 million people. Society was upended. Many villages were abandoned as their inhabitants died or fled, leaving crops to rot in the fields and animals to wander untended. With the labor force severely reduced, the economy faltered. The surviving peasants found themselves in a strange position. While they had previously been bound to their lords by strict laws, the shortage of workers now gave them bargaining power. Some took advantage of the situation to demand higher wages and better working conditions, challenging the old feudal order. The plague not only took a physical toll but also had profound social and spiritual impacts. The Church, which had been the center of medieval life, suffered a crisis of faith as people questioned why God had allowed such a catastrophe. Many clergy died while administering last rites to the sick, leading to a shortage of experienced priests. Those who remained often performed religious duties for higher fees, leading to accusations of greed and corruption. Amid the despair, some people sought comfort in extreme religious movements, such as the Flagellants, groups of penitents who publicly whipped themselves, believing it would appease God's wrath. Others turned to hedonism, living for the moment in the face of such unpredictable death. This tumultuous time sowed seeds of doubt and led to long-term questioning of the Church's authority. By 1351, the worst of the plague had passed, but England was forever changed. The dramatic population decline led to significant shifts in the social structure. With far fewer laborers, surviving peasants could now demand higher wages and greater freedom, which weakened the feudal system. The Statute of Laborers, passed by the government in 1351 to cap wages and restrict the mobility of workers, failed to fully reverse these changes. Landowners, unable to find enough workers, began to lease their lands to tenant farmers, leading to the emergence of a more market-based economy. Additionally, the shortage of workers prompted technological innovations in agriculture to make farming more efficient. The Black Death had thus set in motion an irreversible transformation toward a more modern economic system. The Black Death's legacy persisted in England for generations. The dramatic reduction in population not only reshaped the economy but also altered cultural and social attitudes. The memory of the plague contributed to an increased interest in medical studies and public health, paving the way for future advancements. It also led to a gradual decline in the power of the Church, as people began to look for secular explanations for life's misfortunes rather than divine punishment. Over time, these changes would contribute to the intellectual movement of the Renaissance and even lay some of the groundwork for the Reformation. While the Black Death was one of the darkest chapters in English history, it also marked the beginning of the end for the medieval way of life, ushering in a new era of social, economic, and cultural change. The scars it left behind served as a reminder of the fragility of life and the resilience of the human spirit. Do you want to stay up to date with more interesting stories? Subscribe and turn on the notification bell.